Being recognized as the highest form of currency across the world, the US's dollar's replacement with digital currency is a much shocking prospect. The US is highly baffled because it is not understanding whether transitioning to digital currency is proving to be beneficial for its interests. If the USA finalizes to do it, the event is going to be sensational, and perhaps it will mark the first step of the USA towards capturing the space of Metaverse. The USA is all geared up to start issuing digital currency, and once it happens for real, it is going to be the first step towards making its plan of Metaverse domination a reality. As we all know, Metaverse is a 3D shared space of the AR/VR world. It is that digitalized world that is highly governed by the NFTs. This space functions with the aid of digital currency. So, the US's killer plan in dominating the Metaverse obviously starts with its conversion of dollars to digital currency. The game of digitalized currency is going on insanely. China has already initiated the unveiling of the digital yuan, albeit as on a trial basis. On the other hand, India has also announced that it will unleash its digital rupee. With the buzz for digital currency going around everywhere, the USA is finding it difficult to control its desire to follow the digitalization of currency. A big step for the USA. The present-day world envisions the desire for the creation of cashless society. After all, the ever-growing metaverse world is also popularizing the usage of the digitalized currency. It is not difficult to see why the USA is so vested in transitioning the entire tangible monetary model to a digitalized one. Minting coins and printing paper bills on a large scale will probably stay, but it will not be much hyped as compared to the issuance of digital cash. CBDC, or central bank digital currency, will become a new norm. People can now dwell in a new age where digital wallets installed on smartphones will do all the work. Physical money would become partially extinct because the use of digitalized currency would become a part of mainstream culture, just as Metaverse is going to become a part of mainstream society. The US is in the middle of a great conflict because it is not understanding if it should go for the multi-year exploration into the actuality of an e-dollar. What is interesting is that the Federal Reserve paper may not even take a specific stand as to whether the US should even consider transitioning to digital currency. The US has always been the top-level nation when things come to digital innovations and online payments, but now it is being overtaken by other nations in the global race of Metaverse domination. Being able to switch to digital currency will actually imply that an upper hand can be gained in the context of ruling the Metaverse. Be it Metaverse in-game token or virtual real estate, bringing these sectors under domination will be possible and further easier if the conversion to digital currency can be made as fast as possible. The US is lacking behind in the race of embracing digital currency, and of course, this has been a really infuriating thing for the global superpower. With China taking active steps toward rolling out the e-renminbi, the complete digital version of paper currency throughout the country. It is obvious that the USA is feeling threatened over the issue of whether China becomes able to occupy the leading rank in terms of power, technological innovation, arms, etc. A much anticipated paper by the Federal Reserve has been released in the US by keeping the pros and cons of digital currency in the limelight. According to the Fed, this paper is going to spark a crucial discussion on this topic among the policymakers and national leaders, and also access what the common people think about the radical plan to shift to digital currency. The very nature of money is going to subvert the fact as to which nation is going for world domination. Geopolitical ambitions, financial inclusion, and overall economic growth of the country, all of these are influenced by the fact as to which nation is going to take up the grand role of exercising power all over the world. If the US doesn't go for digital currency, this ambitious superpower may take a back seat. And the US won't let such a thing come to pass. No wonder why it is now making the shift to digital currency. The country will get an edge as it marches ahead to take over the metaverse space, and for doing that, garnering strength in the realm of digital currency is a must. An era of new monetary changes. The evolution in the nature of money to digital currency would imply that people will now be able to pay the amount to various merchants by using apps without having to follow the paper currency mode. Using smartphones will just do the work. Central bank digital digital currency would function in a way similar to that of cash. But it doesn't have to be put in any wallet or bank account. You can simply store and access the amount digitally. The great influence America exercises over all the countries of the world will alter if the superpower doesn't go for digital payments. As a result, no matter if things come to dominating the metaverse or keeping the position intact and exercising global influence, this step of the US towards embracing digital currency is going to prove fruitful to the supernation. Since the US has joined the group a bit late than other competitive countries of the world, it has now bruised itself into researching and engaging intensively on digital currencies, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and other various avatars of digital money. Once the nation gets its hands on these formats of digital currency, it will have a clear and unobstructed path that it can follow to make its dream of metaverse domination an alarming reality. While China and other countries are moving ahead in the race of transforming the digital world by adopting digital currency, the Fed's branch in Boston is now supervising the efforts of the US as it is going for digitalized currency, in collaboration with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. This project has been given the name of Project Hamilton. While US's competitor China is working actively towards developing a CBDC for a decade now, the US is nowhere near to catching up with its rival's pace. Yes, the US has started late, and now it is trying to multiply its efforts rapidly. Going by what economic analyst Kenneth Rogoff, who also happens to be the professor of economics at Harvard University, had to say about the attitudes of the US when things come to going for digital currency is that the global superpower is at least a decade away from producing a digital dollar that is going to enjoy the support of the Fed. Yaya Fanuis, a former CIA analyst, thinks that there is nothing to be worried about Americans starting off late in the race of hugging digital currency. According to Yaya, the reason you could say the US is behind in the digital currency race is I don't think the US is aware there is a race. A lot of policymakers are looking at it and concerned, but even with that, I just don't think there's this sense of urgency because the risk from China is not an immediate threat. Given that the US is already late in indulging in this trend of adopting the digitalized dollar, it can be predicted that the nation is going to grow furthermore ambitious in making up for this lagging by capturing the virtual territory of metaverse. Certain developing economies of the world are already on the way of making digital currency a part of their everyday lives. For instance, Kenya has already digitalized its economy, and by using the payment system of M-PESA, monetary transactions are being made almost free and instantaneous. In fact, even if you consider India's example, the Unified Payments Interface, or UPI, is being used here to make payments across bank accounts in a second, without the people even having to pay any extra charges. Brazil has also come up with the PIX system, by which digital payments can be made to various people and companies within 10 seconds. The US has held back itself and had not yet joined the race of developing digitalized currency, but now that it wants to emerge as a great leader in world politics and wishes to capture and dominate the metaverse, the day is not far when it will push itself up and become once again the #1 country in every global aspect. So, with this, we come to an end of the mind-blowing tale of the USA's radical plan to dominate metaverse and adopt digital currency. If you enjoyed watching this video essay, make sure you have pressed the like button. Also, do tap the subscribe button to stay informed about new and shocking business documentaries. See you in our next video. Goodbye.